Welcome to this video. This video is something I was really excited to prepare to share with anybody who was interested to see it. And if you watched our cost breakdown video on the building behind me, um, I basically explained in that video that I was going to do a cost breakdown on a, a similar style design, but without dealing with the large hill behind this building. And I specified that you wouldn't need such a high wall with this design, which saves a lot of money. So that's why this video, as you can see from this board behind me, we're calling this the ultimate budget garage build. And I do want to clarify, when you hear the word budget, you're really thinking of extremely cheap. And I I kind of feel like those days are gone. You know, everything's so expensive now. I told myself a while back, I'm done saying this is expensive because it goes without saying everything's high, everything's expensive. But is it going to change? It's not going to get cheaper. Like why would, if companies are profiting on things that are getting more expensive, why lower the price? It's not the world we live in. So it's not going to get cheaper. And this specific design garage is more than half of the one behind me. You're going to be shocked when we break down the cost how relatively inexpensive this budget garage is. So I'm excited to share it with you. It didn't take much time to calculate the numbers because I did tons of calculating on this building behind me. So it wasn't too difficult to prepare this information. So I'm excited to share it. And I do want to also mention, like we said, budget. That's a term we're going to use carefully in this video because it is still a lot of money. But this garage build that I'm going to break down here, this building is going to be um, cheaper than your average used car. So if whether you're going to borrow some money to build your building or save up over time, um, it's within reach, assuming you have a little bit of property in the space to put it all together and to actually build it. So yeah, like I said, I think you're going to be surprised by some of these numbers and the total cost. I saw a video of a cost breakdown on a garage, and his was $136,000. That's crazy. Nope. I mean, your average guy doesn't have that type of money or have access to borrow that type of money. So, again, I'm excited to share this with you. So, let's go ahead and get right into it. And kind of similar to the the cost breakdown on the building behind me, we're just going to start from the ground up. Okay. So, I'm not going to break down the dimension yet because I feel like that's the most exciting part about this this budget garage is the size of it. It's a little bigger than you may think it is. So I'll break that down at the very end. Hopefully you'll stick around for that. Okay, so your footer. Um, ideally, any structure you need to be below your frost line on your footers. So in the further north you are, the deeper that's going to be. For our specific area, we are about 24 inches deep for our frost line here in this area. And we're going to say for this specific footer, I think it's too cold. My markers aren't working. There we go. 24 inches deep. 18 inches wide. Again, I'm not going to give you the full dimension. I will at the end. This comes to 15.11 yards at 230 a yard. 3680. And that's not pumping it, because most of the time the truck's accessible to where your footers are going to be. Sometimes they're not. Okay, so the rebar in your footer, I figured, or I found out when I did my building, rebar is about $1 a foot. So 2 strands of 5/8, including your overlap, you're going to have about, and this is for your uprights as well. Uprights will be 4 feet total in length, 1 foot bend, 3 feet going up, which will give you about 2.5 feet from the top of the footer going up. It's about $400 in your rebar for your footer. Okay, and I didn't say this in the beginning of the video, and I apologize for that, but this budget garage, this specific design does have a 4-foot wall, concrete wall. And that wall is going to be 8 inches thick, which is plenty strong enough. You know, your average block building is the same dimensions, 8-inch block. So you will be, you will need to rent your form rental. And this is a very close guesstimate cost on this form rental. And I compared it to my 8-foot walls. You know, with this being 4 foot, it's approximately half the height. So theoretically, half the form, half the price. We're just gonna say about $2,500 for your form rental. And what's nice about this, if you go through a company that I broke down in one of my other videos on how to pour a concrete wall, this is everything you need for your concrete wall. They supply all your turnbuckles. They supply, sometimes they'll have really good prices on rebar. So they'll have all your rebar, all your turnbuckles, all your whalers. No scaffolding needed because it's only 4 feet. Let's see what else. Oh, and they supplied even the 2x4s to connect your turnbuckles to, as well as some of your whaling braces. So that's everything, minus your concrete for your form rental. Okay, concrete wall. Like we said, it is 8 inches thick. It's 4 feet high. I'm not giving you the total length yet. And this concrete cost does not, it doesn't give you room for any man door openings or garage door openings. I have found that any space that you're not using, filling it with concrete, you're going to normally make up that price in whatever you're putting in the space. So example, that door there, I probably saved maybe $1,200, I don't know, maybe $1,500 of concrete in that space there, but I'm spending that in a door. So the cost kind of just goes for whatever you're putting in that area. This came to 13.43 yards. So you need order 14 at $230 a yard. equals 3,220. Okay, so now from there up, this is the really cool part about this design. This design gives you a 12-foot ceiling height, which is really cool, nice and tall. So because of that, you're going to have an 8-foot wood wall. And I calculated 2x6 boards, 16-inch centers. And I think, according to my research, they were about $7 a board. And times 102 total boards, $702 in your in your studs for your wall. All right, OSB plywood. At the time I looked this up, $18 a sheet, and I calculated 17 sheets total. And that's stacking them on top of each other to get your 8-foot, 4 feet high each. 4 times 2 is 8. Let's see, 34 sheets. Oh, right. Okay, so I added in for your roof as well. And I think the roof was close to also 17 sheets. Came out for the whole building, you would need 34 total sheets at $18. So 612. $612 for your and that's 19/32 plywood. All right, your trusses, 412 pitch on this. Let's write that down. 412. So you don't get the attic truss in this budget garage build, but you may not need it. So that's good. You're going to save a lot of money on that. And again, I looked this up online. This is a 2-foot center layout. I calculated how many you would need. I'm not telling you that because you'll be able to figure out the dimensions, and I don't want you to figure that out yet. It's let's see, 24/30 for your trusses. Oh, okay. So, sorry, I messed up. I said this was for your plywood for your roof as well, but it's not. I have that down here in another category. So, $576 for your plywood for your roof at 32 sheets, 32 total sheets, and that's a guess. That's a guesstimate calculation on that. I just basically did the dimensions looking straight down, not taking into account the pitch. So that will be slightly different, but it's close. Okay, so metal roof, I calculated about $2,900. So, before you do your total calculations on whatever building you're doing, I would definitely call around to your metal suppliers because I feel like that might vary a little bit. But again, I really think that's close. All right, concrete floor. You're going to need, I calculated 13.4 yards at 4 inches. So 4 inches comes to 14 yards total. 32.20. Look at that. Interesting. Same yards in your wall as your floor. 14. That's funny. All right, so other costs, and I'm not going to write down in this quite yet, but it is in the. I'm not writing it because I ran out of space, but is calculated into the total cost of the garage. That would be a 8-foot garage door, which I saw online is about $800. That's not installed. That's just for the garage door. Um, and we're not going to discuss man doors, or if you want to put windows in it. There's a lot of play with however you want to design your building for where you put that stuff, and then also the size of it. So we're not gonna we're gonna leave that part out, as well as setting it up with electricity or insulation. There's a lot of options for those specific costs. So because of that, we're not putting it in this. So similar to the state of my building now, this total cost is for a shell. We didn't calculate the siding yet either. A lot of vinyl, metal. You have some options there. So, and that part is relatively inexpensive for the total cost of your building. So we're not gonna, for that reason, calculate that. You can figure that out whenever you do your project. So some benefits of this style here, this specific budget build style. You don't need a pump truck for your walls because they're only 4 feet. So as long as your truck can get your get access to your wall, you can just pour it right out of the truck. um, that's a pretty large chunk of money you're going to save not having to rent a pump truck. Okay, another thing, if you're doing a 6-foot wood wall, you're going to have, let's see, 20% less in some of your wood, well, specifically your 2x6s. You will have a little waste on your plywood because they come in 4x8 sheets, but you'd still have a 10-foot ceiling. So that's still high. That's really high for a garage ceiling. And also, too, another thing you got to keep in mind, the height of your floor changes your ceiling height. So let's just assume you're going to put your floor starting above your footer. You'll lose 4 inches in your concrete wall. Your concrete wall will then only be 3'8". Yeah, 3'8". So you will lose that in your ceiling height as well. So if you did that, it'd be a 9'8" ceiling. If you do the 8-foot wall, it'd be 11'8" ceiling. Assuming you're putting your slab right on this height here, where it starts 4 inches up from there. And your slab, we said it's $3,200. You could put gravel in it for a year or two, even. You don't need to do that right away, and you could still use your building for that time period. And the longer that gravel sits, if you're driving on it, it's going to be packed in, so your base foundation for your floor is just going to become stronger. So that's one benefit of waiting for your concrete. Okay, so now for the part I was most excited about. And this number here, it's, some people might like this and some people may not, for different reasons. But the dimensions for this build, let's see here. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to give you the cost. Yeah, okay. Total cost. $21,098. 21 grand. That's not a bad deal. For what you're getting, you know, I mean, you're getting a decent product, especially if you build it yourself. You'll know the quality of the craftsmanship that was put in it. But okay, so now for the size of it. 21 grand gets you a 34 by 34. So some people may not like this size here. I kind of do. You know, it's a square building, and with the 34 dimensions, you know, 34 is not a multiple of 8, but 32 is a multiple of 8 for your plywood, right? 32 is 5 sheets. 8, 16, 24. 32, yeah. Four sheets. But the extra plywood you're going to get, you won't have any waste with the 34. You will have to make some cuts, but you won't waste any plywood with those dimensions. So let's see, a 34 by 34 building is that a 3-car garage? I'd call that a 2.5. We're gonna do some walking real quick. I'm gonna measure a truck that's long, and we're gonna figure out exactly, you know, how many vehicles you could get in there. But you could definitely get 2. You'd have tons of extra space with 2 cars. Plenty of room for your bench or something like that. So anyways, I was excited to calculate all this stuff, and you know, for the cost of it, it's really not a bad way to go. And another benefit of this specific style, you know, if you want to like rinse off your car in your building, you got that 4-foot wall that can get wet. It's not the end of the world if it gets wet. So you got a little bit of protection. And in this budget build, obviously there is no stone pattern, but I found my form rental receipt, and for a 4-foot by 10-foot stone template, it was $215 each. So that's for a 4-foot by 10-foot, $215. And if you wanted to do something kind of unique, you could pick the style you want and only put it on certain sides of the building like I did, and you'll save quite a bit. You don't need it around the whole thing most of the time. I mean, if you want to do that, you could, and with the 4-foot wall, you just need 1 sheet. So it'll be easier to get your design looking perfect with that template. So if that's something you guys want to see or know more about, I'm gonna be breaking some of that process down when we do our addition on this building behind me. I'll show you how you do that, and also the company that I use too, if that's something you guys want to see. Yeah. Okay, so I actually just did some measuring real quick. I got a couple cars here that were already kind of parked like they would be in a building. So I just laid out this tape to get an idea of that size. And I think I said in the video it was like a 2.5-car garage, but I was wrong. It's a 3-car garage with room to spare, and I'm going to show you that right now. So we got this tape is at 34 feet, so that would represent a corner. And there's 1 car, 2, and 3. And look at how far past we are on this side as well. There's the end. There's the end of our tape. So that's a good, what, 4 feet? Enough room to open your doors. And these cars, they're not exactly parked close to each other either. That's a little close. You know, same with, this is about right though. That measurement there is about right. So you don't hit your car when you open the doors. And I only had the 30-foot tape here. And I have it not quite lined up to our corner. But it's close, right? So the depth, or the, you know, the however long your car is, let's see, tons of space in front and behind the cars. And we're 4 feet past this here. It's a 30-footer, 30-foot tape. So 4 feet, about there. Let's see what we got. So there's our mark there. Sorry for the camera. Let's see. So back of the car, over 8 feet. 8 feet in the back. And that's a typical 4-door sedan. Looks like about the same here as well. Let's see. Yeah, about the same, 8.5 feet. So plenty of room for a longer truck. Man, looking at those dimensions, that's a really big building. So, you know, a great deal for what you would be getting with a $21,000 building. You'd have a nice 3-car garage with tall ceilings. I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, we're gonna end this video there, and I really hope that seeing the measurements laid out was helpful to visualize the size of it, to see actually how much you're getting for the cost. So that's super cool. I hope you enjoyed it, and I had fun calculating all that stuff. So consider subscribing, and we'll talk at you later. Peace.